and that could also give them an idea of how many people were involved in the initial assault.
Now, Art, even if that officer that encountered the SUV saw, let's say, 2 people, that doesn't mean there wasn't a third, right? I mean, is it conceivable that if they had planned to get away, right, this was not a suicide mission, that they would have already split up?
Yeah, this was pretty well planned hit. I mean, they didn't spend a lot of time at the conference facility, and then they got away. They could have dropped somebody off, and because everybody's looking for 3 people in an SUV, so they could have dropped somebody off before they encountered the law enforcement officer. But obviously, this is still a very fluid situation. You heard the press conference. The spokesperson didn't have a heck of a lot to say. No. I think there's still some activity going on in another section of town, is what I'm hearing, away from the residential area that we have on camera. But it's hard to say right now. There's a lot of moving parts involved in this particular scenario.
Colonel Watt, this door-to-door search, what do you think? Do they have any information that would be causing them to go door-to-door, that they are actually hearing that one, if not more, of the suspects would be in a house nearby? Or would this just be protocol to look?
Well, it's both. I'm sure they're operating off a certain amount of information. The officer who initially engaged them would have seen some things indicative of the number of people, would have identified more than one person. They only have one there at the scene. And the second is anytime you're involved in one of these situations, you're going to do some standard area search type activity. You're not only looking for a suspect, but you're also looking for additional information of people who might have that.
Harry, is there a chance that 1 or 2 shooters gets away, evades this massive manhunt that we're seeing?
I mean, it's always a possibility, but it doesn't look like it to me. There are so many police officers there. They got that area cordoned off so quickly. You know, it's really surprising to me that, you know, we looked at this attack and we're analyzing it earlier and how well planned this attack was. But these guys weren't smart enough to get out of San Bernardino. They had all that time to get out and they didn't. And the fact is, it just goes to show you, no matter how well they think they've got a plan, and they did get away from the area, but these guys still made a mistake and stick in the area, and thank God for that.
Bobby, what do you make of what Jim Shootout was reporting, Harry just referred to? The clear planning that went on here, the military-style precision, the armored vests that they reportedly were wearing, the long rifles, and the fact, let's just emphasize this, the nearly unprecedented nature, if not fair to say at this point, unprecedented, of having possibly 3 people involved in something like this.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I thought this was going to be, and we've had them in Los Angeles before, up in Goleta at a postal facility, and I thought this might be another workplace violence incident or possibly a disgruntled client of the association that was meeting. But I think all of that is being dismissed now because of the very facts that you just mentioned, the fact that they're so highly planned and they're so highly equipped, and you know, that's going to be one of the things that's that the investigators are looking at right now. When they're talking to the witnesses, they're going to see if they moved in a tactical manner, if they tactically reloaded while they were shooting. I mean, these guys, you know, it's often a possibility they could have been on the way to another attack. It's just unknown, but the level of planning, this is something that we haven't seen in a domestic shooting of this nature in a very long time, if ever.
And Bobby, to that front, what is your view here on domestic versus international terrorism? They said at an earlier press conference when they first spoke that they could not rule out terrorism. They then later said it didn't have the hallmarks of international terrorism, which obviously is very front and center on every American's mind right now. Clearly, this is terrorism of some sort. But when you're talking about a motive, what does it look like?
Well, I'm sure, well, you know, it looks certainly like a very planned and calculated attack. So I think that the investigators right now are talking to the witnesses, seeing if they said anything to the witnesses, if they targeted a particular individual before they shot the others. I'm sure they're looking at if there are any threats against any of the people in that meeting or the organization or the, you know, the department that they were all part of.
I want to go back to Alberto Moya on the ground, just to get, Alberto, what you are seeing right now. Are you still seeing what we're seeing from the aerial shots that we have up here for viewers, that's still going door-to-door search? And have you seen anybody in the neighborhood? I mean, are there people possibly still in these houses, someone that could eventually end up in some kind of a horrible hostage situation? What are you seeing?
Aaron, we have not seen anybody come in and out of any of the houses or businesses or the church directly across the street from where we are. From the moment that we got here, the police stormed the area. But in terms of civilians, the only people that we can see here is immediately to the north of our position. At the northern perimeter, there's a lot of people, a lot of onlookers that are keeping an eye on what's happening here. What we have noticed, though, is that the energy in the area seems to have calmed down substantially from when we first got here. The moment that we arrived, policemen told us to get back. Some of them took shelter behind our car. They were kneeling with their guns drawn. Now what we're looking at is the police cars are moving more slowly in and out of the area. And don't get me wrong, there still continues to be a tremendous police presence in the area, and the search continues for anybody here who the police might want to talk to. But there is no question that the energy and the heightened state of alert, although the police remain vigilant, you can still see them going from place to place. They still have the area completely closed off. The energy has substantially calmed down from when we first got here. There's also, you could see from our vantage point, we saw that there were numerous police units from neighboring towns that were participating in the search. We saw U.S. Marshal. We've seen the SWAT teams moving in and out of the area, but you can tell that things have calmed down here. Although by no means are they being any less vigilant in their ongoing search and their state of alert here.
All right, Alberto, stay with me, but Art Roderick, let me go to you, because you have been hearing that there could be other areas that they are looking at. That obviously could now become a very crucial question. If, as Alberto says, the energy changes here, if they don't think another suspect is here, does that open the possibility to the fact that they did split up and that the one down was by the car and that you now have one, maybe two suspects on the loose somewhere else?
It very well could be. I mean, what's happening now is you've got all these different crime scenes, and you need more officers coming in under a mutual aid to secure all these different areas. And I think we're going to be hearing, I mean, it's obviously getting ready to get dark out there, which is going to be an issue for law enforcement. But hopefully they can wrap this up fairly quickly. But I think you're starting to hear now some other leads pop up around the San Bernardino County area.
All right, on that note, I want to go to Scott Glover, another producer for us here at CNN. He's at another area where he's being pushed back by police, possible focus as they hunt for the suspects. What are you seeing, Scott?
I'm seeing a neighborhood in Redlands, and it's the police have blocked off an area outside looks like an apartment building. There are several, half a dozen officers out there, guns drawn. There's a large, what looks like a SWAT vehicle, kind of a armored large truck. One officer or two officers actually were describing it as a tactical situation and asking me, and there was another reporter, to leave the area. That's what I'm looking at right now.
All right, that's what you're saying. And Harry, as you're hearing Scott report, you're jotting down notes.
Yeah, more than likely, either happened, the one dead suspect there, they got either identification on him to be able to go and check out, or they ran the plate of that vehicle. If that wasn't a stolen vehicle or a rented vehicle, even if it was a rented vehicle, they'll be able to find out who rented that vehicle, and that might be leading us to the other location.
So you're saying that that they're now following these leads
yes,
down. So this is back to the possibility that these guys may have had a plan that did involve splitting up in some way.
That's definitely a possibility, yeah. I mean, right now we're just speculating on it based on our experience and what we're seeing here. But you knew that plate was ran instantly and be able to track about where that vehicle came back to, and then investigators shot out there to follow that lead, and that's a good lead.
And Scott, how many police would you say are where you are right now?
One, two. I'm looking at maybe a 10 that I see right now. Most in fact dressed in tactical gear, wearing helmets, carrying assault type weapons or things that you would use to enter a building. Again, there's the heavy SWAT type vehicle that's parked in the street, and they seem to be kind of on edge.
All right, Scott, of course, stay with us as you're reporting. I want to go to Mahir now, who lives on East San Bernardino Avenue. Actually saw the shootout go down with the shooter that is now down. Mahir, obviously, we're only going to use your first name. Thank you very much for calling in and being willing to talk to us, and to so many who want to understand what happened here. What did you see?
Well, yeah, we just saw a bunch of, we didn't see much, actually, you know. We just heard so many gunshots. It's crazy. Like, right now, like, everything seems to be, like, cooled down and all that, and we just see just so many SWAT and, like, cops and cop cars, you know. There's, like, at least a dozen or so, maybe more, probably more, actually.
Probably more than that, and as you said, so many gunshots. We now have been seeing from the air, Mahir, watching your neighborhood, the police going door to door looking for other suspects. I mean, you must be terrified.
Well, that's one word, yeah. There's dozens of words to say what I'm feeling right now.
Have they come to your house?
Well, I'm, like, the cops just, like, I don't know, I saw them outside. I motioned for them to come here because, like, I didn't know what was going on. So I talked to them. They just said, stay inside, lock the doors, and just wait until we tell you what's going on and if everything's fine. And
so how long ago was that?
I don't know, I'd say like 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago. So since then, you're in the house. Are you alone? Who are you with? What are you doing?
I'm with my mom.
With your mom, and where you're just locking the doors and lying low?
Basically, yeah.
Do you know if any of your other neighbors are home? Have you been able to talk to anybody else?
I haven't, no. I'm sure they're all home, safe and sound. Like, I don't see any ambulances, so I'm assuming that no one's hurt.
And Mahir, when the shooting happened, how long did it last? You talk about hearing so many gunshots, and we now know that one of the shooters from the attack this morning was dead as a result of that, is down. How long did it go on?
Well, for the shooting, it felt like an eternity, you know, but like I think it went on 10 minutes. Just gunshot after gunshot. It was crazy.
And did you at the time think that it was related to this? And you obviously you had no warning from police or anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course I knew it was related to this. I mean, I was actually keeping up with the news. I was watching the news, actually. I was watching the news covering this story when it all went down in front of my house. Crazy.
Well, Mahir, I know that, as you said, you are terrified, and we're thinking of you and your mother. Hope that you stay inside, you stay safe as they keep going door to door. Thank you very much for calling us.
Right. Yeah.
I want to go to Stephanie Elam, who is also on the ground. Stephanie, what are you able to tell us right now, as we now have obviously multiple areas where they are searching for additional suspects?
I'm on the other side of the story, Aaron. I am where families are reuniting with the survivors of this shooting. Where I am right now is the Rudy Hernandez Community Center, and what we've just seen are busloads of people who made it out safely from the shooting, and they were reunited here with their family, going into the community center here, finding their families and coming out. And we've seen some tearful reunions. We've seen people crying and hugging. As you watch these people coming off of the buses, you can, as you might imagine, their faces drawn. A lot of them, you could tell that they have been crying, looking to find their family members, and then just some of the family members who were here waiting, once they're actually able to hug their family members, just starting to cry, releasing that tension, that pressure of not knowing, or even knowing that they were safe because of text messaging, but still a different thing once you have them in your immediate vicinity and being able to clutch and hold on to them. A lot of the people coming out look very traumatized, as you would expect. Many of them not wanting to stop to talk to the media. They're just trying to get out, get home, and make it back to some sort of normalcy here. But we've seen about, I would say, probably about 3 or 4 busloads of people being reunited with their families here, Aaron. So this is the more positive side, but still these are people who are still very much traumatized by what they saw this afternoon.
Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. And of course, so many now being reunited with their families, and we understand the latest numbers that we have, 17 injured, some of them obviously critically so, at least 14 dead, the deadliest mass shooting in the United States since the Sandy Hook shooting. A horrific event, a horrific day, and unprecedented in many other ways, with multiple shooters, and military-style planning, precision, and assault in terms of what we saw today. At this point, Shooter still unaccounted for, 1, if not 2, and motive still completely unknown. I am here. We've got former members of the CIA, SWAT team leaders, U.S. Marshals, detectives. Harry Hawk, former NYPD detective, sitting next to me. Obviously, the one shooter is down. One
Correct.
shooter is down. And we are awaiting, I want our viewers to know, within the next 15 minutes, we are again going to be hearing live from senior police officials in San Bernardino. So we're going to be bringing that to you live, and we may get a very, very important update as to the whereabouts of these other 2 suspects.
Right.
But you think fingerprints could have played a big role?
I think what happened is that I'm sure the police are already